Okay. So our last type of question is very similar to what we did before, all right? But this time we're finding the coordinate of the centroid, okay? So the coordinate of the centroid is going to, well, let's do a quick recap of what a centroid is. All right, so what a centroid is it's the point of intersection of the medians. And same idea is technically the way that we've talked about it has been the point of intersection of three medians, all right? But technically any two of the medians, all right, would also intersect at the same centroid, okay? So we're only going to find the equation of two medians. So for discussion purposes, what I want us to do is I want us to go ahead and label these A, B, and C, all right, just so that we can be able to talk about the same points, okay? So you're going to pick again, all right, any two of those three, all right, to get the equations of, okay? So if we remember with medians, what we're talking about here are midpoints. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick from C. All right, I'm going to start there, and I'm going to choose to go from C. Now, if we remember what a median is, all right, is it's the segment connecting that vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side, okay? So I'm going to now find, all right, the midpoint of AB. So I'm going to tell you guys like what I was thinking whenever I chose C, and it's not always going to work. All right, but I kind of looked ahead and noticed that like if I added the 1 and the 5 together, I'd get an even number, and same with the 10 and 0, all right? And that's because when we're finding the midpoint, we're dividing things by 2, which means that if you have an odd number, all right, you're going to deal with decimals, and I just don't want to deal with decimals. And you're not always going to avoid that, all right? But that's why I chose C, all right, as just a heads up, okay? So I'm going to find the midpoint of AB, which means I'm going to add 1 plus 5 together, all right, and then divide it by 2. And then I'm going to add the 10 plus 0 together, and then divide it by 2. All right, which means that my point of intersection here is, I'm sorry, my midpoint is going to be 3 comma 5. Okay. Now, from there, I need to write the equation, all right, of that median. And that median has to pass through that midpoint of 3 comma 5 and the vertex of C, which is what we chose, which is 9 comma 5. Okay. All right. So if we're finding the equation, that means that we need to find the slope. All right. So if I'm finding the slope here, I'm going to do 5 minus 5 all over 9 minus 3. And I have 5 minus 5, which is 0, over 6, which is 0. Now, I'm not making it perpendicular. Medians don't have to be perpendicular. So I'm staying with the fact that the equation of that line has a slope of 0. All right. And if we remember, all right, Vux Hoy, if I have a slope of 0, that means my equation has to be y is equal to. Okay. So if you look at the 2 points that it has to pass through, what do you notice about those two y values? They're both 5. All right, so my equation of that, my first median is y is equal to 5. And once again, guys, that is exactly what we want to see. All right, we want to get one of those special cases. Okay, so I am now going to pick another of those points in order to write the median, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and choose to go from B, okay? So I'm going to choose to go from B. And the reason why I paused there is I kind of noticed that there was, either way, I'd have to deal with decimals, okay? So I'm going to go from B, all right, which means that I'm going to find my midpoint of AC. Okay, so if I'm finding the midpoint of AC, all right, I'm going to do 1 plus 9 divided by 2. And then I'm going to do 10 plus 5. Okay, divided by 2. And then 1 plus 9 is going to be 10 divided by 2, which is 5, comma, 10 plus 5 divided by 2 is going to be 7.5. And so, like I said, you're not going to be able to get rid of the decimals in every case, okay? But I'm now going to have to find my equation. And this time I'm using my midpoint of 5 comma 7.5 and point B, which is 5 comma 0. Okay. So finding my slope here, guys, I'm going to have 0 minus 7.5 all over 5 minus 5. All right, which gives me negative 7.5 over 0, all right, which we know is undefined. All right, and once again, I love seeing that because that's going to be a special case. So if you have an undefined slope, your equation has to be x is equal to, right? And so if you look at the two x values we have in that equation, we have 5 and 5, which means that your x value is also 5, all right? Which means that your final answer, that point of intersection, all right, is 5 comma 5. And that's your final answer. Okay? All right, guys. So we're going to do one more example. All right? And we're going to go from there. All right? Come back.